Is going to be about sensible, safe, separated bike lanes, which I think are safer for people who commute, they're safer for families, they're more sensible and practical, and I intend to proceed ahead with a policy that does more than we've done in recent years in terms of the construction of sensible, safe cycling lanes. It is also going to be rooted in doing something that I think again makes sense where we've fallen way behind, and that is putting cycling infrastructure at transit stops. I can commit right now that all 22 Smart Track stops will have proper cycling storage or cycling storage infrastructure, but I'm also going to do it on as many TTC stations as possible and other places that make sense, because there's a lot of people who'd like to cycle part way to the transit and then go to work on transit the rest of the way as opposed to cycling all the way. Maintenance is something that's been raised with me by many cyclists who say that there's not a line item in the budget to maintain those bike lanes that do exist, so you find snow, you find various things that are interfering with the usability of those cycling lanes, and it's just not something that is really conducive to having cycling made more accessible to people.
Focusing in on saying she's the only progressive in the race, I'm wondering what you think of that statement, and then also whether you see her as a threat at this stage.
I take every candidate seriously, every single one. But I would say that if you look at my track record as a private citizen, as a volunteer, where I invested hundreds of hours and hundreds of weeks of my time over many years, including very recent years when I was a private citizen, in causes such as the renewal of our priority neighborhoods, all kinds of things involving youth employment. I just finished co-chairing a task force on youth employment for the Ontario government. I committed myself to many of these things and made a big difference, and I think a lot of these organizations would confirm it in addressing a lot of these problems. So again, Ms. Chow will say what she has to say. I have a track record to rely on in terms of commitment that I showed as a volunteer to moving the city forward and making sure people weren't left behind, and I'll continue putting that positive message forward.